Bob Dylan is one of the most influential recording artists to have emerged in the 1960s. His first Inland Empire appearance took place on February 25, 1964, at the University of California, Riverside. Today, not many people remember the concert, and if they do, most believe the rumor that Dylan appeared at UCR's intimate concert venue, The Barn. But this story was debunked by an article that appeared in the winter 2013 issue of UCR magazine. It stated that Dylan did not play the barn, but rather at the UCR gym. This ad appeared in the February 23, 1964 edition of Riverside's Press Enterprise newspaper. It stated that the singing folk poet could be seen by purchasing a ticket for a mere $1.50. The purchase was referred to as a donation. The concert was sponsored by the Association of Students, UCR. At this point in his career, Dylan would perform an all-acoustic set, armed only with his voice, his words and music, harmonica, and guitar. No reviews of the concert appeared in local newspapers. This page from the 1964 UCR yearbook contains perhaps the only, if brief, review of the performance. It read, "Poet-performer Bob Dylan, author of Blowin' in the Wind and Don't Think Twice, gave an excellent performance at UCR. Peter, Paul, and Mary have termed Dylan the most important folk singer in America today." Unfortunately, no set list circulates of the UCR show. But in 2004, a recording was released of Dylan's October 31, 1964 appearance at New York's Philharmonic Hall. A look at the songs played that night reveals that he performed all original material, with the exception of one cover tune. The First Lady of Folk Music, Joan Baez, joined him on stage for 4 duets. Baez had been championing Dylan's music and career since she first met him in 1961. By 1964, it was apparent that Baez and Dylan were a couple. On February 27, 1964, 2 days after Dylan's UCR concert, former Redlands resident Baez gave homecoming concerts at Redlands High School and the University of Redlands. Since Dylan was in the area, it was hoped by some that he would join Baez for a few numbers. Sadly, this collaboration did not take place, as Dylan was already scheduled to play other Southern California concerts in San Diego and Santa Monica, where ticket prices were considerably higher than in Riverside. One eyewitness to Bob Dylan's 1964 UCR concert was Ellen Chase Harper. Her parents, Charles and Dorothy Chase, owned and operated the legendary Folk Music Center in Claremont, California. They were both well known in the folk music community and were invited to attend Dylan's UCR performance and to meet him backstage. The then 17-year-old Harper attended the concert with her parents and a school friend who tagged along. She wrote about the experience in her 2021 book, Always a Song. Of Bob Dylan's performance, she wrote, "The concert is mesmerizing. I can't stop the tears pouring down my face as Dylan sings the Ballad of Hollis Brown. He is a commanding stage presence, but there is something about the way he holds himself. Not his singing, but his overall mien, which seems to be fabricated." Backstage after the concert, Dylan shook hands and greeted Ellen's parents. However, he ignored her, preferring to pay attention to her attractive schoolmate, who managed to sneak backstage for the meet and greet. Although Ellen was stung by being overlooked by Dylan, she took his snub in stride and wrote in her book, "I know in spite of my disappointment and humiliation that Babs is the better choice for an after-show party." Today, Ellen Chase Harper still lives in Claremont. She owns and operates the Folk Music Center, thanks to her Grammy Award-winning son, Ben Harper, who purchased the store from her aging parents so it would stay in the family. Be it a negative or positive experience, a Bob Dylan concert never failed to have an effect on those that watched him perform. The 1964 UCR concert was not Bob Dylan's only Inland Empire appearance, although it would take him almost 30 years to perform again in the area. In 1988, Dylan began what has become known amongst his fans as the Never-Ending Tour. On October 5, 1993, the tour came to the I.E. when he appeared at the Blockbuster Pavilion in San Bernardino, California. The opening act was Santana. A look at the set list reveals that over half of the songs came from the 1960s, no doubt making his longtime fans happy. Dylan returned to the I.E. on May 15, 1995, when he played the McCallum Theater for the Performing Arts in Palm Desert, California. The set list was an extended nod to his 1960s work. 11 of the 14 songs performed that night were recorded in that decade. However, Dylan's propensity to rearrange and reinterpret his music oftentimes made the familiar songs unfamiliar. In the summer of 2009, Bob Dylan and his band undertook a tour of minor league baseball stadiums. Dylan's next visit to the Inland Empire occurred on August 12, 2009, when he played a concert at the Diamond in Lake Elsinore, California. The opening acts were Willie Nelson and Family, John Mellencamp, and the unbilled ragtime blues band, the Wyos. Youths under the age of 14 were admitted free if they were accompanied by a paying adult. The set list for this date featured more new than old songs, but it still contains 6 of his classic 1960s tunes, including Ballad of a Thin Man, The Times They Are A-Changin', Most Likely You'll Go Your Way and I'll Go Mine, Like a Rolling Stone, and All Along the Watchtower. The next year, Bob Dylan and his band returned to the I.E. on August 19, 2010, at the Citizens Business Bank Arena in Ontario, California. Opening the show again was John Mellencamp. Also appearing that night was an unbilled group, the Dough Rollers. The singer-guitarist for that band was Malcolm Ford, who happened to be the son of actor Harrison Ford. Once again, Dylan was generous in his performance of songs from his 1960s repertoire. 8 songs from that decade were performed. A review of the concert appeared in the August 21, 2010 edition of the Inland Valley Daily Bulletin. The concert was not a sellout, and reporter David Allen wrote, "Dylan is well known, but as he admitted in a 2009 interview, I'm no mainstream artist." Asked what kind of artist he is, he replied, "I'm not sure. Byronesque, maybe?" This may explain why there were so many empty seats, even with John Mellencamp on the bill. The 909 is a lot of things, but Byronesque isn't one of them. In October 2016, over 2 weekends, the Desert Trip concerts took place at the Empire Polo Club, Indio, California. Bob Dylan and his band performed on October 7th and 14th. These 2 concerts were the highest attended Dylan appearances ever in the I.E. There were over 75,000 members of the audience each night. Reviews for Dylan's appearances were generally positive, even though he was in the unenviable position of opening for the Rolling Stones. This reviewer noted that Dylan was one of the few American headliners represented in the entire Desert Trip lineup. Between Dylan's October 7th and 14th concerts, it was announced that he had won the Nobel Prize in Literature. Reviewers speculated if the change in the set list was his response to the honor. For the most part, Dylan played the same set of songs both nights. The only difference between the 2 nights was that he changed the ending by eliminating Masters of War and replacing it with Like a Rolling Stone and Why Try to Change Me Now. The latter song appeared on his Shadows of the Night album of ballads recorded by Frank Sinatra. The COVID-19 pandemic put an end to any touring Dylan had scheduled for most of 2020 and 2021. However, he has announced plans to return to the road through 2024. Just how many of those dates will include future stops in the Inland Empire is up to conjecture and speculation.